In this lesson, we will show you how to deep copy an object. The difference between deep copy and shallow copy is that deep copy will copy reference type values. Shallow copy, however, only copies the memory address of reference type values. A deep copy will have its own reference type property values. No matter how we operate the copy, the source object will not be affected. The challenge of deep copy is how to copy reference type values, as they can get quite complicated. For example, list uses an array as its value. To copy this array, we first create an empty array. Then we iterate over list and copy its 3 elements into the new empty array. But what if the list array has a more complicated structure? For example, it has a 4th element, and the element value is an object. This object also uses an object as its property value. Inside the object, we define property, whose value is an array. This array may even have more complicated structure. We cannot control or predict how complicated a reference type value can be. The only way to iterate an unknown reference type value is through recursion. So to create a deep copy program, we also need recursion. First, we define a new function and name it deep copy. The function needs one argument. We name it source. Source represents the object we want to copy. Since the argument value is provided by users, we need to validate it first. It must be an object. To test if a piece of data is an object or not, we use type of. The problem with type of is that it will regard null as an object. So we also need to make sure the source value is not null. If the source value is illegal, we throw an error. Then we declare a variable and name it copy. Copy will store the copied object. We set its initial value to an empty object. At the end of the function, we return copy. Next, we add a for-in statement and iterate over the source object. We can retrieve each property value via source key. First, we check if its value is primitive or not. We still do the check using type of. Like we said before, null will be regarded as an object by type of. So we also need to make sure the value of source key is not null. The if part will be executed if the property value is a reference type value. The else part will be executed if the property value is primitive. In this case, we directly add it into the copy object. We need to keep the property name unchanged, so we pass key to copy. Then we assign source key to copy key. Now, if the property value is primitive, its value will be added into copy under the original property name. If the property value is reference type, we call the deep copy function again. This time, the argument value is the property value, so we pass source key to the deep copy function. Then we assign the deep copy function back to copy key. Now pay attention here. This line is the most important part of the entire program. If the property value is reference type, we send it to the deep copy function and assign the deep copy function back to copy key. Now let's test the program. We pass object A to the deep copy function. Then we assign the function to another variable, B. Let's output B on the console table. We can see we got a problem. B.list is not an array. It is an indexed object. So, what went wrong? The problem is we directly set copy's initial value to an empty object. We need to check if the argument value is an array or not. We do the check using array.isArray. If the argument value is an array, we assign an empty array to copy. Otherwise, we assign an empty object to it. Now let's try the program again. We can see this time b.list is an array. The structure of the copy is the same as the original object. Let's push a new element into b.list. We can see a.list stays unchanged. This is because a.list and b.list point to two different arrays. This program has two key points. We first need to check if the argument value is an array or an object. If it is an array, we assign an empty array to copy. Otherwise, we give copy an empty object. The second key point is after passing the property value to the deep copy function, we need to assign it back to copy key. Actually, the deep copy function can also be used to deep copy arrays. Try it yourself. This program is also a very commonly seen interview topic. Make sure you understand and memorize it.